Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachabhavini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Asatya Vishwani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachabhavini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Bhakta Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Sanitam Tamam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prajnasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Pavan Saharanandita Shri Vishakamitam Shri He Krishna Karunam Sindhu Dina Dhamma Jagopate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindaveshwari वृषभांसि प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vācālo pangam lambete giri. Yat kripa tamaham mande shivaram dinatarayana paramanam Shri Chaitanya Vishnu. Hare Krishna. So I beg the blessings of everyone. I'm most unqualified to speak anything because I have no realization, I have no qualification. But hopefully, by the blessings of the devotees, blessings of the deities, we can speak something which is useful and something which is um, inspiring to everyone. So today is very auspicious day. I'm very grateful to all of you for being here. So, Srimati Radharani's, sorry, Srimati Radharani's position is very special, very high also. But first, let us establish what is the reality. What is the reality in which we are living? So, कामस्य निन्द्रिय प्रीति लाभो जीवे तयावता जीवस्य तत्व जिज्ञासा नान्तो यस्येह कर्मभिः. Life's desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or a life or self-preservation. Only a healthy life or self-preservation. Since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's works. So, human form of life is very rare. Why did I put this picture specifically? Because as many grains of sand as there are on the beach, as many grains of sand there are on the beach, That many times, we have taken birth, we've gone to school, we've had family, we've had children, and we've completed the whole cycle many times. But in every life, we attained everything. But we did not get Krishna. We did not get the supreme goal. That is the proof that we're looking, we're looking, we're looking. We're looking and looking for new things. That means that we are not satisfied. So, this is the situation of the common man today. People work very hard, they get some money to enjoy, they get money, they enjoy, and they relax. But they cannot relax forever. That is the problem. You cannot go on vacation forever because after Sunday comes Monday. After vacation, we have to go back to work. Why? Because this material nature is very, very strong. And because of the force of karma or the force of material nature, even though we may want to relax, we want to enjoy, but unfortunately, we are spirit soul. And therefore, because we are spirit soul, our nature, our tendency is we need to do something. We need to do something. So we are stuck in this cycle. So how do we get out of this cycle? Because recently I came across the interview of a very, very successful, very accomplished golf player. So he was mentioning the point that even though he has won so many championships, but after so many championships, he realizes that actually the happiness that comes from winning, from being world champion, just lasts a few minutes. And now he has won so many championships. Now he has got used to the mentality that how much ever successful he may be, the next week is a new week. Even though people may celebrate someone's victory, how long will they celebrate? How long will they applaud? They also go on with their life. So the reality of life is that things, material things, don't give the deep happiness. They don't give the deep fulfillment. And because of that, we get frustrated. Whether we're successful or unsuccessful, we're frustrated because the soul is by nature spiritual. But we're giving what is spiritual, we're giving material food. So that won't be uh, compatible. Just like the example is, if you give someone nuts and bolts to eat, then it will not be compatible. So, in the same way, material enjoyment, material success is not going to satisfy the need of the soul. The supreme occupation is to attain loving devotional service. That is the supreme occupation. That is the supreme dharma, according to Srimad Bhagavatam. Why? Because that will satisfy the self. And according to Shastra, according to scripture, how must that service be? It must be unmotivated and uninterrupted. Why is it important that we follow Shastra? Why? Because Krishna says, Tasmat Pramanam Shastram. Shastra is coming from Krishna directly. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord has pure intelligence. He is the one who created. Just like if someone gives you a laptop or a phone, then in order to operate that properly, we need to have the manual. So Bhagavad Gita is the manual, Shastra is the manual. So if we don't follow Shastra, we follow our mind. What is the mind? Mind is a reflection of our previous experiences. And many times those experiences are subjective. So anyhow, so what is the difference between the normal way of going on with life and the way that Krishna recommends? What is the difference? So it says dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So dharma. What is the dharma? Always trying to love Krishna. This is very important. Normally dharma means performing some activity. But here in our temple, we are recommending activities which please Krishna. So by doing activities to please Krishna, what happens? Like for example, by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. What happens? Krishna becomes pleased. I'm sure you all have experienced coming here, taking prasadam, chanting the holy name. You feel happy. So when Krishna becomes pleased, then what happens? You get real fulfillment. So karma is material enjoyment, which is enjoying matter. Actually, the sense enjoyment in this world is we're just interacting with matter. We're not actually interacting with spirit. But here you're interacting with Supreme Spirit. What to speak of pleasure? Krishna is ever grateful, ever grateful. Like Gajendra. Gajendra was an elephant who was stuck in a very dangerous situation. Crocodile, Gajendra the elephant, he was, his feet were caught very forcefully by a crocodile. And for many, many thousands of years, and out of nowhere, Gajendra got the inspiration to pick up a lotus flower and offer to the Supreme Lord. He just offered a lotus flower. And what was the result of that? The Supreme Lord came on Garuda and with his Sudarshan Chakra, he cut off the head of the crocodile and he took Gajendra back to Godhead. He took Gajendra to the spiritual world. For such a small thing, Krishna is so grateful. Krishna is so grateful. So, for what we're doing today, Krishna will be ever grateful. Normally, if you do something for someone, if you pay money, you only get what the money is worth only one time. You cannot keep buying again and again. You cannot take $10, okay, give me this, whatever, give me this particular item. Then you say, okay, give me back $10. You can't do that. But with Krishna, you can do that. With Krishna, you can uh, understand that his gratitude is eternal. And as a result of that, what happens? We come closer to eternal life. We come closer to the spiritual world. We come out of birth, death, old age, and disease. Very simple process. If you just try to do activities to please Krishna, the simplest activity, starting with chanting the holy name, what happens? You come closer to eternity. But in this cycle, you come closer to frustration. There's no solution. You're not solving your problem. What is your problem? Is that you're not satisfied. You're not actually experiencing some deep happiness. But here, you're actually not only are you getting deeply satisfied, but you're coming closer to eternal life and you're coming out of birth, death, old age, and disease. So, this is actually a map of the universe. And the reason why I put this map here is because I just want to explain what it really means to worship Krishna. What it really means to worship Srimati Radharani. How amazing that is. So, we are here, Bhurloka, Earth planet, we are here. This is a lower planet system, this is higher planet system, and this is the middle, this is Earth planet. Beyond the Earth planet is the causal ocean, and this is Mahavishnu. Out of the pores of his body, millions of universes are, being, as he inhales and exhales, millions of universes are being created and annihilated. And beyond is actually Brahma Jyoti, Brahman Deva. And beyond Brahman, actually, this is the abode of Lord Shiva, Kailash. And beyond is, this is actually Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, Narayan and Lakshmi Devi, with all their millions of expansions, incarnations, they have their pastimes with their devotees. Beyond Vaikuntha is actually Ayodhya. Beyond Ayodhya is Dwaraka. Beyond Dwaraka is Mathura, and beyond Mathura is Vrindavan. So when we speak about Krishna, we're speaking about Vrindavan. So just think about it. Can there be any comparison to the happiness that we get here and we get here? There's no comparison. There's no comparison. I mentioned that what to speak of the highest planet, Lord Shiva himself is not interested in any material activities. Lord Shiva is always in meditation on whom? Lord Shiva is always meditating on Sankarshan. So that is Lord Shiva's position. He is always engaged in meditation. He is not interested in any material activity. He has no material desire. But beyond Lord Shiva is, beyond Kailash is Vaikuntha. Beyond Vaikuntha is Ayodhya, then Dwaraka, then Mathura and Vrindavan. So we cannot even imagine the kind of happiness and the position of Krishna. If Lord Shiva himself is so pure, what to speak about the Supreme Lord? And that's why Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Why? Because he is in the topmost planet. He is in the topmost planet. So practically, like we spoke about how we always have to try to love Krishna and serve Krishna. So what does it mean practically so that everyone can do? This is the basic principle of Shuddha Bhakti. Before going to higher topics, before speaking of Radharani, this is basic Shuddha Bhakti. How? Mind, this is actually from Srimad Bhagavatam about the activities of Maharaj Ambarish. Maharaj Ambarish was a great king, an amazing king. What were his activities? His mind was always engaged in meditating on the lotus feet of Krishna, his words in describing the glories of Krishna, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna, eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna or going to places like Mathura and Vrindavan, sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees, sense of smell in smelling the tulsi or the flowers, tongue in tasting the prasad, legs in walking to the holy places and temples, head in bowing down, and his desires in serving the Lord. This is Maharaj Ambarish. Maharaj Ambarish was such a great devotee, such an amazing devotee, that even though a great sage, very powerful sage, Durvas Muni, cursed him, he created a very fiery demon. That demon started chasing him due to some unforeseen circumstance. And even in that situation, when he was practically on the verge of death, he prayed for the deliverance of the person who was causing him harm. So, if one practices Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotion, then all the good qualities manifest. So, this is the basic. Before going to Vrindavan, before going to Radharani, this is very important, and our temple is meant for this. Our temple is meant for this. So, who is a real transcendentalist? Uh, so these are the activities of a real transcendentalist. How can we know that we're actually doing we're doing bhakti properly? Krishna says persons who are doing bhakti properly, who are worshipping Krishna properly, which means who are serving him with love, considering his pleasure the most important aspect of one's life. That how can I please Krishna? Not just serve, but how do I please? So when we speak about pleasing, then we do what Krishna likes particularly and do it the way he likes. So if we are following these processes with the proper mood, then Krishna from within us will give us the understanding how to go back to Godhead, how to attain eternal life. Unless we come to this platform, there is no question of Radharani. There is no question of Vrindavan. Because Vrindavan, as I mentioned, is a topmost place. So, if we are not practicing these basic principles, these principles are practiced even in Ayodhya, even in Vaikuntha. Even Lord Shiva practices these principles. So, these principles are very, very important and very powerful also. So, considering all these points, what is very important in spiritual life is we need Guru. We need to surrender. We need to surrender 1%, 2%. Ultimately, if we want to understand what is Vrindavan, what is Krishna, what is real love, love cannot have any meaning without sacrifice, without surrender. So, Krishna is saying that first thing in spiritual life, approach Guru. Approach Guru. And how should you approach Guru? First, actually, in this verse, three things I mentioned, but first is we have to whatever extent, we have to pranipat, we have to surrender. We have to surrender and then we have to render service. We have to serve. We many times we speak about, we know about Radharani, but how much service she does in a day, so much service. She cooks so many 50, 60 items, uh, so many services, at least 100 services she does every day, according to, of course, our materialistic understanding. If we just do a little service, come to the temple, chant and dance, we become tired. But Srimati Radharani, how much service? And not only service, but she does in a mode of extreme sacrifice. This is Radhakund, the highest place in all the material and spiritual worlds. It is mentioned actually, according to even scientists, that in at midday in the afternoon, the temperature in Radhakund is the hottest in the whole planet practically. And the reason why is because of Radharani's love for Krishna. Her love for Krishna is so intense because Radhakund and Radharani are non-different. It becomes so hot. So, just as there are so many lamps in this picture, bhakti comes from a heart to a heart. Just as it requires one flame it requires one flame to light another flame, in the same way, it requires the company of a pure soul to actually realize, to actually understand what is bhakti, to understand what is bhakti. So, Krishna, as I mentioned, is the Supreme Lord because I mentioned very clearly that Krishna of Vrindavan, the Krishna that we are worshipping here, Krishna's planet is the highest, the topmost, and therefore Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, something very interesting about Krishna. Just as some in this world, it's very difficult to understand. Just like sometimes, you know, the president of America, if you go to the president of America, if someone goes to the president of America, then the president has so many ministers and chief ministers and so many attorneys. They do all the work. But what is president? President manages or makes the most important decisions. And sometimes president enjoys also. Like sometimes, there may be a war going on. Sometimes a very serious problem is going on. President may be just playing with his grandson or son, maybe a board game, watching a movie. So this is mundane example. But when it comes to Krishna, Krishna's only business is enjoyment and facilitating the enjoyment of his devotees. Krishna is not that kind of God that he has to go to work 9 to 5, get some money, and then use the money to come home and enjoy. No. Huh? Iti drikshva leelavid ananda kunde. Krishna's enjoyment is oceanic, and Krishna drowns all his devotees in an ocean of ecstasy. This is actually Govardhan pastime. Govardhan pastime. And this in this pastime is a constant festival for 7 days. Krishna's friends are there, Krishna's parents are there, Krishna's lovers are there, and this just having a constant festival for 7 days and 7 nights. So Krishna interacts, Krishna has 5 relationships in Vrindavan: neutrality, servitorship, friendship, parental, and conjugal. Now, the point I want to make here is that all these relationships are perfect. All the relationships are fully perfect. And all these relationships, they are not subject to time. Like in this world, suppose I want to meet my friend. If my friend is speaking to his parents, then I cannot speak to him. But Krishna can interact with his servants, his friends, his parents, and his lovers at the same time. That is the astonishing thing about Krishna. And very important is that within friendship, neutrality and servitorship is included along with friendship. In parental, there is neutrality, servitorship, friendship, and parental. And in conjugal, all 5 are included. All 5 are included. So, of course, we already established the point that Krishna is a supreme Lord. Krishna's body is made of Sachin Ananda, bliss, eternity, and knowledge. There is no Krishna's body is completely spiritual. There is no question of any material. Krishna does not perform any material activities, even though it may in this world, because we impose our consciousness on Krishna, but actually Krishna's activities are fully spiritual. Therefore, actually, just as spirit cannot do any material activity, isn't it? So Krishna's body is fully surcharged with eternity, bliss, and knowledge. It's completely spiritual, and so are the bodies of all his associates, his friends. Their body is not made out of flesh, their body is made out of that Sakhya Bhav, that Sakhya Avesh. Mother Yashoda's body is not made out of blood, it's made out of prema. Prema. When Krishna actually sucks Mother Yashoda's breast, then the milk is not just, it's not milk, it's actually Vatsalya Prem. So, in the same way, Srimati Radharani is also a transformation of ecstatic love of Krishna. Ecstatic love of Krishna. So, among all the lovers of Krishna, Radharani's love is topmost, is topmost. And again, what does love mean? This is very important. Love means the intense desire to serve. The intense desire to serve. That is love. Selfless, intense desire to serve and sacrificing one's happiness for the happiness of the object of service. That is love. So there are three qualities for a servant. What is that? First thing is a servant is always dependent. Second, a servant renders loving service. And third, a servant does not expect anything in return. So Srimati Radharani is one pastime. One day, Narad Muni, great sage, was massaging the feet of Krishna. And suddenly, as he was massaging Krishna's lotus feet, he saw that there were some blisters. Suddenly, he said, Krishna, what happened suddenly? Krishna said, did you give hot boiling milk to Srimati Radharani? So Narad Muni, of course, he's a great sage. He got to know that yes, someone has given hot boiling milk to Radharani. So Srimati Radharani didn't even consider anything. As soon as she heard that this is Krishna's remnants, she immediately drank it. She immediately drank. So by this one act, it's by this one act, it's very clear that Srimati Radharani has all of these three qualities to the topmost limit. She's complete. She does not care uh, for her body, and she's honoring Krishna's remnants. One of the service is to honor Prasad. That this is Krishna's remnant, so let me honor. So it's called Prasad Seva. And she does not expect anything in return. She, as soon as she drank, she did not think, oh, why did Krishna do this to me? How can Krishna do this to me? That thought didn't even come in her mind. So this is the quality of the topmost servant, who is always busy in rendering loving service. Always busy, always busy, always busy. They never relax, they never stop, they never wait to achieve some appreciation. Like in this world, you render service, you get money. So everyone works for the money. But Radharani, her only desire is to please Krishna. That's it. She does not expect anything for her service. And this is true for all the Brajvasis. You will never read about Krishna in Krishna's pastimes that, okay, today Mother Yashoda has rendered so many years of service. So today there will be an appreciation dinner. You'll never hear that. And as I proved it, that Radharani is a topmost servant. So she has absolutely no desire for any kind of appreciation. So now we'll try to quickly summarize. We'll try to come to the point. So as I mentioned, Krishna is Supreme Lord, and Krishna is sold eternally to the loving service of Radharani because of the three qualities. He is sold to her eternally, and she is a property of her servants, her maid servants, and her topmost maid servant, her topmost servitor who renders extraordinary service to her. Her name is Rupamanjari. That Rupamanjari in Krishna's pastimes came to this world as Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami, who was a great, extraordinary, eternal associate of Krishna who appeared in this world, he gave personal darshan to our Srila Prabhupada. Before Srila Prabhupada came to America, Rupa Goswami told Prabhupada that I will personally come with you. So this is how fortunate we are that we have such a dear servant of Srimati Radharani. You just think about it. If Rupa Goswami or Rupa Manjari is so dear to Radharani, and he gave such extraordinary mercy to Srila Prabhupada, then how much dear is Srila Prabhupada to Srimati Radharani? Who is Srila Prabhupada? Just to introduce. So Srila Prabhupada, he is one of the greatest exponents of Vedic wisdom. Now, just like if you're eating something, like today is a fasting day and you're eating something. So, unless you have enough for yourself, will you give to others? So, Srila Prabhupada, at the age of 70, after having had 3 heart attacks, with no money, with no manpower, and with such a frail body, at that stage he came to America. And in a matter of 10 years, he opened 108 temples and wrote out of over 70 books. Isn't this is incredible? Imagine after having had 3 heart attacks, and on top of that, no money, no manpower. Nobody knew him. So this is the power of Radharani's grace, Radharani's mercy. So if you become a servant of Radharani, then this is what you can do. You can do incredible things. So actually, Srimati Radharani, she is the greatest servant of Krishna, and at the same time, she is the most compassionate personality who gives the nectar of Krishna to others. So, Srila Prabhupada gave this Radharani's love to the whole world through opening temples, writing books, gave so many talks, and he cared compassionately for his disciples. Every day, he would answer so many letters. Can you imagine at that age answering 20, 30 letters every day? Those days, there was no email, there was no WhatsApp, there was nothing. You have to personally write the letters and post the letters. So he really gave his sweat and blood for this world. And he giving his sweat and blood for this world is not different uh, from Srimati Radharani giving that to us. So when we're receiving all these things from Srila Prabhupada, we're actually receiving them personally from Srimati Radharani. So this is something about Srimati Radharani, uh, which is very wonderful. Vaidagya Sindur Anurag Rasaika Sindur Vatsalya Sindur Atisandra Kripaika Sindur Lavanya Sindur Amrita Chavirupa Sindur Shri Radhika Smratume Hridikeli Sindur. When will Sri Radha, who is an ocean of cleverness, a nectar ocean, an ocean of motherly affection, an ocean of very deep compassion, an ocean of elegance, and nectar ocean of glistening transcendental forms, and an ocean of divine play manifest in my heart? So we'll speak something very briefly about Srimati Radharani in order to glorify. So we all know how powerful is compassion. So this is one of our acharyas, one of our acharyas. So his name is Raghunath Das Goswami, and he used to live in Radhakund, and in Radhakund he used to perform very intense sadhana, and he was so much absorbed in his sadhana that one day there was blistering heat, as I mentioned, Radhakund, blistering heat. Srimati Radharani came personally with her veil, and shaded him from the sun. So one may say that, oh, he is very advanced, he is a very great sadhu. So how can I expect that to happen in my life? So again, Srila Prabhupada, so compassionate that he was initiating so many people. Now, I don't know how many of you know the science of, I'm sorry, I don't know how many of you know the science of initiation, but initiation means when someone actually becomes a guru, they actually take the karma of their disciples. And taking the karma is a very, very painful affair. It literally means you have to go through the sufferings of all the wrongdoings of the disciple. But because the guru is spiritually very powerful, by his sadhana, he actually burns down that karma. But although it is true that even guru is very powerful, he burns down the karma, but still there are some remnants, there is some suffering. So Srila Prabhupada, because of initiating so many, accepting so many Kali Yuga disciples, he went through so much physical trouble. But one time, this is Prabhupada's compassion. In the early days, one time Srila Prabhupada was dealing with a person who was actually using the temple, using ISKCON uh, to earn money. So even though Prabhupada, as an institutional head, was losing so much, even though Prabhupada was suffering so much, still Prabhupada said that no, we should keep him, we should give him a chance. And person who was so much had this mentality, he came to Srila Prabhupada, he came to our founder Acharya. He saw that Prabhupada had a golden watch. So you know how thieves are, how robbers are. So uh, he became very strong, and he, with lot of aggression, he said, "Give me that watch." And he threatened Srila Prabhupada. He had a knife in his hand. Prabhupada very coolly and calmly, without any fear, without any um, possessive mentality, he just gave that watch. And because Prabhupada displayed such deep compassion, he became a great devotee. So this is how Srila Prabhupada transformed the heart. So just as Srimati Radharani, by her loving compassion, she transformed the heart, or she melted the heart of so many great souls. In the same way, Srila Prabhupada is carrying that sweet mercy of Srimati Radharani. Uh, and that mercy, that compassion is heart melting. And she is an ocean of elegance. So Prabhupada says, if anyone approaches Srimati Radharani, she recommends to Krishna that here is the best devotee. He is better than me. So the thing is, what is elegance? Elegance means being expert but being humble, being unassuming. So Srimati Radharani is expert in so many arts, but she is always very eager to recommend those who come to serve her. She is so eager. One time Srila Prabhupada, who is expert in everything. Can you imagine? He taught the whole society how to cook, how to worship, how to do everything. But one day Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture, and you know, Prabhupada was speaking about different classes of people, first class, second class. So one person very arrogantly, he said, "So, Swamiji, are you first class?" Prabhupada very humbly folded his hands and said, "No, I am fifth class. I am fifth class." And just by that humility, that day so many people became so much attracted to Srila Prabhupada. So elegance means having everything but not showing anything. And Srimati Radharani is an ocean of beauty. As I mentioned, Srimati Radharani, um, her body is made of love for Krishna. So that same love that Srimati Radharani has for Krishna uh, uh, came through Srila Prabhupada as he exhibited his love for Krishna. So like when Prabhupada one day, you know, sometimes uh, many people challenge. So the real thing is actually transformation. People don't change by um, just logical, philosophical jugglery. But Srila Prabhupada, one day, one person came to Srila Prabhupada and asked Srila Prabhupada that, have you seen God? Prabhupada said that, first of all, we need to have the eyes to see God. We need to have the eyes to see God. And then Prabhupada looked very, very penetratingly into his eyes, and Prabhupada said, yes, I see God at every moment. I see Him everywhere. And that person was so transformed that his faith reached another platform. So that is the power of association of great souls. And Radharani's love is so powerful that it makes Krishna dance. It makes Krishna dance. One time, Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, he was doing kirtan and chanting for 3 days continuously, constantly. And then Krishna appeared to him and garlanded him with kadamba flowers. Actually, this is I'm very I'm very happy to speak this, but we should understand what is the heart of a great soul. Actually, after some years of Prabhupada's pastimes in this world, Prabhupada, due to taking so many disciples and so many things, Prabhupada got a heart attack again. And Prabhupada was on, basically, he was ready to leave the world. But because Prabhupada is a pure devotees, they don't die because of bodily ailments. So Prabhupada, Krishna came to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada started arguing with Krishna. Krishna said, I've had enough. I cannot tolerate any separation from you anymore. Please come back. Prabhupada said, no, my institution is very new. I need to help them. I need to teach them. If I leave now, they will struggle. Now, the next word, the next line by Krishna is very powerful. What did Krishna say? Krishna said, okay, you can continue with your nonsense. So the thing is that, of course, Krishna says that my missionary work is, those who do my missionary work are very dear to me. But this is how attached Krishna is to Srila Prabhupada. Just as Krishna is so attached to Srimati Radharani, Krishna is so much attached to all of Radharani's servants. And they have the power to control Krishna by their love. So, what is Srimati Radharani giving us actually? What Radharani is giving us is, when we serve Srimati Radharani, when we come under a shelter, especially when we serve her servants, we get all these qualities. We get all these qualities. All the good qualities manifest in us. All these amazing qualities manifest in us. So we are so fortunate that we have such an amazing representative of Srimati Radharani, because many times people recognize Radharani, they chant Radhe Radhe, but the representatives of Radharani, they don't pay attention. So that is very important because we don't pay attention to the representatives of Srimati Radharani, then how can we get her grace? So Krishna, just as I mentioned that Krishna is controlled by the love of Srimati Radharani, loving service. In order to understand the depth of that love, Krishna came 500 years ago as Lord Chaitanya, resplendent uh, with the hue of molten gold. So Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya. You can see in that picture the central figure raising his hands, arms up in the air. So that Krishna came with the sentiment of Radharani. Just like, for example, if a teacher wants to know how to become a student, what it feels like, that they have to be a student. In the position of a teacher, they cannot realize. So Krishna came in the mood of Srimati Radharani, and that is Gauranga, Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya. And very interestingly, this Lord Chaitanya is actually is the love between Radha and Krishna. Many people speak many things about the love between Radha and Krishna, but Lord Chaitanya, he is the representation of that love. So as we serve his lotus feet, then we we gain qualification because to go to Radharani it requires qualification. It requires qualification. यथा यथा गौरव पदार विंदे विंदेद भक्तिन कृत पुण्य राशि तथा तथा असर्पति हृदय कस्मात् राधा पदाम भोज सुधाम परासी. To the degree that we surrender to Lord Chaitanya's service, to that degree we gain qualification for service to Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. So we cannot just enter Vrindavan just like that. Like one day, one person he sang, that Krishna, you went to the house of Vidura, won't you come to my home? So this kind of sentimentality doesn't work. We can't be sentimental. We have to be scientific. So Lord Chaitanya is the form that exemplifies the love between Radha and Krishna. So we have to serve his lotus feet. And what is Mahaprabhu's mission? Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Praya Yajantihi Sumetas. So Mahaprabhu's mission is to perform congregational chanting by constantly singing. Congregational chanting means singing and also spreading the message of the Supreme Lord. So when we do both these things, what happens? We get access to Krishna in Vrindavan. Krishna in Vrindavan. So I'll just end with this, that Narottam Das Thakur is one of the great associates of the Lord. Narottam Das Thakur is one of the principal associates, principal followers of Lord Chaitanya. So Narottam Das Thakur, he was doing this. He was chanting, he was spreading, he transformed villages into Krishna consciousness. And as a result of that, as he was doing, what happened? Narottam Das Thakur, as he was chanting one day, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Narottam Das Thakur had a personal vision of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani came to Narottam Das Thakur, and Srimati Radharani gave Narottam Das Thakur the service of boiling milk for him in his mind. And as he executed that service of boiling milk for Srimati Radharani, Narottam Das Thakur attained perfection. Such an incredible Acharya that he rose from dead. Like normally we hear of in different religions of great personalities rising from dead. Not only rose from dead, but he initiated people after that. He was preaching after that. Incredible personality. You can read about him. You can type Narottam Das Thakur. And finally, when he left his body, he has so attached to his service that his body transformed into milk. Can you imagine? That shows how his body is completely spiritual. So when one gets Radharani's grace, his body becomes completely spiritualized. You know? One disappearance, one time, they were celebrating his disappearance. This is the first time he came back, you know, Shri Shri Radha Govinda Govinda Vishnu Prabhu. He initiated people, and the second time again, this time they were celebrating his disappearance festival. He appeared, he started speaking to everyone. How are you doing? That is a power. As effulgent as millions of suns. Everyone is like this. How many people are there? That many thousands of people. He spoke to everyone. He gave mercy to everyone. So this is the power of the grace of Srimati Radharani. So the purpose of my presentation, I am done, is to encourage everyone who came first time or who are coming to please come to our temple and really try the process and see what it does to you. Try the process and see what it does to you. Because the real benefit of this process is to attain the spiritual world. To attain the spiritual world. So it's very, very powerful. It's very, very wonderful. Um, I would just like to play one video for uh, like 1-2 minutes about the power of this process. Just for 1-2 minutes, and then we can end. I think we need to do something so that everyone can hear. Prabhu, if you can. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll just share some. Sorry. Share. It's not going to play. Yeah. No, I have to play. Yeah. Let me just share some.
Krishnam Sangapangastra Parshadam Yag Chaitanya Mahaprabhu identity has been revealed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna Varnam Disha Krishnam Sangapangastra Parshadam Yagai Sankirtana Prayair Jajantihi Sumedhasa. Jajantihi Sumedhasa. So, Jajanti means worship. Sumedhasha means those who are extremely intelligent. Those who are extremely intelligent, they will worship Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how? Jagai Sankirtana Prayavir. So, this is the Vaidhi Bhakti, Shastra Vidhi. What is the Shastra Vidhi? Worship Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by Sankirtan Yajna. So you follow the Vaidhi Bhakti, worship Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and as I pointed out, just do that, and I can assure you the door to Vrindavan will open up in front of you. In due course of time, one fine morning or maybe in the afternoon, you'll find yourself in Vrindavan. Just like Gop Kumar in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, he arrived in the afternoon. He found himself in Vrindavan all of a sudden. And that's how he actually met Krishna. He had to wait for some time. He came in the afternoon. He was searching for Krishna. Then finally he saw Krishna in the evening, when it was just about to be evening, Godhuli. All of a sudden he saw everyone is looking in one direction. Then he heard that the dust was flying. And then he heard the mooing of the cows. Then he heard the laughter of the boys. And then he saw all the cowherd boys So someday, if we follow this very simple process that Srila Prabhupada gave us, following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we'll find ourselves in Vrindavan. So this is the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare.
So I'm very grateful to all of you for patiently hearing. And of course, when we say we'll meet Krishna, Krishna is never separate from Srimati Radharani. That means we will meet her, we will attain her eternal grace. Very grateful. We'll end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimati Radharani ki jai.
Shyam Kishore Prabhuji ki jai. Hare Krishna. Let us express our sincere gratitude to Mr. Shyam Kishore Prabhu for his